what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for The Drop, which is a brand new crime thriller, crime drama, whatever you want to call it, starring Tom Hardy, Noomi Rapace, and the late and great James Gandolfini, one of the best actors out there, and sadly he passed away last year, but hey, we have another film. This is actually, I think, his last film for his amazing movie career and TV career, of course. So hey, was this a good way to end his career? Was this a good film? Was this the movie I was hoping it would be? Because I saw the trailer and I thought it looked great. I could not wait to see this film. I really couldn't. I love Tom Hardy, Noomi Rapace, and of course James Gandolfini. So is this a good movie to end his career? Is this a movie that you will remember whenever you think of James Gandolfini? Well, let's talk about The Drop with the story. The story for The Drop follows Bobby, played by Tom Hardy, who is a bartender for a bar owned by his cousin Marv, played by the late and great James Gandolfini, rest in peace. And of course, this isn't a typical bar, because if it was just a bar and they were just doing their bar things, it would be a boring film. But no, the movie is actually about this bar being a drop bar. You don't know what a drop bar is? Well, I didn't know what it was either until now. A drop bar is where a bunch of mafiosos and criminals and mobsters of the city put their dirty money, they put it into this bar, they hand it to the bartender, and he puts it wherever, and he just keeps it safe for the big mobster, the guy that's in charge, to come and of course take it. Because if a bunch of mobsters were just handing money to this guy, this big mafioso guy, then they'd probably get caught eventually. But no, if it's just a bunch of guys coming in, dropping money in, and then one guy comes and collects it, it's a little bit more discreet. So the story here is very, very interesting at that aspect. But the movie gets even better because that story is really not the main story. It really is about the characters. The main story at first was about the drop bar getting robbed for $5,000, and James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy's characters having to pretty much make up the money and find a way to pay back the head mobster before they get killed by them. And then the rest of the film, the first 45 minutes, 50 is all about that, and then the rest of the film is about something pretty much completely different. I mean, sometimes the robbery aspect comes back into play, but for the rest of the movie, it's really all about Tom Hardy's character and James Gandolfini's character and what they have to do, and you understand what they have to do completely to get by in this world. Especially James Gandolfini's character, he has his own problems where at first you might not like his character, but you'll understand why he does what he has to do. You will. I mean, it's not like just because he's a dick he does the things he has to do, but really, the movie is all about getting to know these characters and either liking them or finding them interesting enough to follow them to the bitter end. So I really, really love the story and all the characters, really. I truly did, and I love that it really shifts from the story that was in the trailer, where they get robbed and stuff. That's pretty much what was in the trailer, into something pretty much completely different, like I said. And I love that, when a story is like, oh, this is the story, but not really. Now it's something even more interesting, and I'm just like, yeah, cool. Now it's like two different movies. It's like The Drop 1 and The Drop 2 all coming together if there was a sequel, but of course there wasn't, so they just put it in one movie. I really, really enjoyed that aspect. So yeah, I thought the story here was great. And the story is only helped by the excellent acting from every single actor here. Tom Hardy, James Gandolfini, Noomi Rapace, John Ortiz, there's a couple other people out there, but every single actor, all the supporting cast, everybody does a great job here. Everybody's so good in this film. But I have to give them credit. Tom Hardy, hey, I love you. You're a great actor. You are terrific in this film, man. You are so good. I know you're watching. You're a big fan of my videos. But you are so good in this film. He was just excellent. There's a part in this film later on where you don't know too much about his character. You really don't. He doesn't talk too much. He's the quiet loner type. And that's really interesting if it's well executed. What it reminded me a lot of was Ryan Gosling from Drive. That's exactly who it reminded me of. Just a quiet loner guy that doesn't say too much, but when he does, he says maybe a couple sentences and then he's done, or maybe just says one or two things and that's it. When he does actually talk, it's very interesting. You want to know more about him. But there's a part later on in this film, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a part that just blew me away and made me realize that stuff like No Good Deed, which I already knew was a terrible film, but just the twist in that film was embarrassing. embarrassing compared to something like this where it's just so natural the way they show you who this guy really is. It's just so natural, and he's so good in this film, and the writing is just so good as well. It really is. It's so tight. It's so tight. I love it. But yeah, it just makes me realize how crappy twists and crappy films are. Like, I mean, I know they're crappy, but just like how unthoughtful it is just to throw a twist in there. Just throw it in there. It doesn't matter. Just last minute. This movie puts a twist in there, but it builds to it. It even gives you little hints here and there, and I love that. It's such a good twist too. It really is. It might not be the most like wow twist, but it's one of the most well thought out and well done twists I've seen in a movie in a very long time. Also, I have to say this. His character is very quiet, very, very just like stone-faced a lot of times, but he does a great job at that. He really does. Tom Hardy is so good at doing what Ryan Gosling did, pretty much. But doing it, I'm going to say it. I thought he did it better than Ryan Gosling. I know people are going to hate me for saying that because a lot of people love Drive. I do too. But I thought he did a better job at being the stone-faced guy that just kind of like stares at times and stuff. You felt anger, and you felt like sometimes confusion and him being upset and stuff just by him staring. So you actually get to know him a lot just by looking at how he is looking. I know that sounds confusing, but anyway, he is so good. He really is. But don't get me wrong, James Gandolfini is terrific here as well. He really is. But he is a side character. Tom Hardy, we follow him throughout the entire film. But James Gandolfini, we see him, don't get me wrong. He is great. He is playing a James Gandolfini type character. He's the wise-ass type of dude. You know, he's the guy that thinks he's really big, but he really isn't, to be honest. But he's still really interesting, and I loved his character as well. Noomi Rapace plays the love interest to Tom Hardy's character, and she's great as well. I really like her, and I want to see her in more films. And the rest of the supporting cast does a great job as well. I loved where the story went, just all the little twists and turns it took. I know I say that a lot. I realize I say twists and turns a lot, but anyway, there's just a lot of twists and turns that I just really loved. And the whole story, all the writing, all the realistic conversations that are going on. Every time someone has a conversation, it's about something that is very, very realistic. You know, it's not like a big conversation about something that's just like really over the top and big. No, it's just like, hey man, let's have a conversation about this thing. You know, there you go. We had a conversation about it. You know, let's have an argument about it now. I don't know. It just felt really realistic. I know the way I'm explaining it sounds stupid, but that's how it was to me. It was just like, hey, let's have a conversation here and there. You know, let's just build character for the people that are watching this film. You know, why not? So anyway, I love this film. There's not much else to say about The Drop. I think you should definitely go see it. I loved every single second of it. If I have any problems, it's that puppy wasn't in it as much as it should be. There's a puppy in this film that just melted my heart. If you see the film, oh man, that puppy. I love puppies, oh yeah. And I know that sounded creepy, but it's a cute puppy. It really is. There's a dog in this film that is adorable. And it makes me love Tom Hardy's character even more. I love this film, I really did, but I'm not going to give it a 40 out of 40 because I did have actually a real legitimate complaint, but I can't spoil it. It's towards the end. I can't spoil it because it's obviously a spoiler, but just one little thing. So I'm going to give this a 39 out of a 40. I love this film. You have to go see it. The Drop is excellent filmmaking, direction, writing, acting, all of it, just the suspense, everything. Go check this movie out. It's highly recommended. And hey, rest in peace, James Gandolfini. You'll be remembered. You will be remembered. Thank you and goodbye.